Welcome back for part 2, motorizing the oil pump for Walthers oil rig N Scale. Somebody had commented about trying a little bit of oil on those gears, and I did not do that. I kind of held off. I did order some grease that they recommend actually for the motor, 106, and going to try to put a little bit of that on and see if that frees that up a little bit. If not, probably going to hurt it. So also the motorized kit for that model. So this will also work for the turntable, a couple other products that they have out there. So we're going to test that, see how fast it turns. In that box you get the motor itself, and we're going to run that on 12 volts, and also a set of instructions, and I have not gone through those instructions yet, so we'll do that. Let me do a couple of experiments here and get right back to you. Okay, I applied a little bit of the grease on the gears. It seems to have helped a little bit, but not as much as what I would like it to have. One thing I noticed that with a larger gear being here at the bottom, a medium-sized gear and a smaller gear means that as we turn this one ratio here, this gear up here is going to turn a lot faster. So just want to keep that in mind compared to the speed of the motor. The other one I've noticed is that the glitchiness happens right up here at the top. That I can feel this is the worst. So I may experiment with the other gearbox and see if I can get that something's taking place up here in this upper part. So work on that. Let's take a quick look at the motor. This motor, they say do not run at over 12 volts. So I do have a power supply here with 12 volts. And that hooked up. And you can see that that's turning fairly fast. I may do an experiment here and see if I can figure out how many RPMs that's going to turn. Remember, whatever speed this is turning, the oil pump is going to turn faster. I'm going to try, I think I've got a board here, I can drop this power down to 5 volts and let's see what it turns at 5 volts. Well, this may become a 3-part series, just trying to figure out what's going on. Anyway, I took another look at the gearbox. Large, medium, small. And you actually have 16 teeth here, you have 10 teeth on the middle gear, and you have 8 teeth up here. And that ratio comes out that this top gear is going to spin twice as fast as what the bottom input gear does. So working off of that, let's see what we can do with the motor. I ran a little test, put a black mark here on the gear, and I'm running this at 5 volts. And I ran it for exactly 1 minute, and it came out to about 9.5 revolutions per minute. Which, to me, if you're going to operate this at 12 volts, you're probably running a little bit above 20 RPM, which would make the oil pump run at over 40 times per minute. That's a little less than once a second. Way too fast, so going to have to decrease it. So I say I've run it here at 5 volts, and I'm going to run that actually down to, we'll try 3 volts and see what happens. Now we have the unit running at 3 volts, and we actually come out to right at 4 turns per minute. In my last test, I'm running it at 2 volts, and we actually come up with right at about 2.2 RPM, which means about every 15 seconds you would get a rotation out of it once this is all put together. I did find out that if I went any lower than 2 volts, the motor didn't like it and would stop. So that's the test there that we did. And let me show you exactly what I used to drop the voltage with. Here's the converter that I use. 12 volts in, and then you can vary that output. These will take all the way up to about 35-40 volts going in. Reduce it down to as low as 1.25. This is a DROK. They're a little more expensive, about $8 a piece from off of Amazon. Another one there without the LED display is Buck Converter, and they run two for $10. You can put a voltmeter on the back end and you know, adjust the voltage to where you want it and kind of go from there. I think probably the best 3 volts is about where I'm going to try to run this one at, if we can get it working, and that should give us 4 RPM at the motor, 8 revolutions at the gearbox, which will mean about every 7.5 seconds we'll get a rotation out of it. I think that's okay. Attach the holder for the motor to the bottom of the base and then place the motor in there. Do not over tighten those screws. Soft plastic you're holding that into. Just make them firm. Decrease the voltage down to about 2.5 volts, getting a revolution about every 8 seconds, a little bit over 8 seconds. Also, the base is just snapped in as they call out. Not sure if I'm going to leave mine that way or maybe put a dab of glue in there just to make sure it stays in place. But we're going to go to a part 3 to actually for final installation and get it installed. So we'll look forward to seeing you on that one. You have a great day. Thank you for watching.